Welcome back to another episode of the DFS Express. I am your host, the Daily Fantasy Sniper. And on tap for today, we have a preview of UFC Prague for your DraftKings contest. Before we get started, please hit the subscribe button to this podcast. Greatly appreciate it. Also, make sure you are a member at DFS Army to get full DraftKings, FanDuel, just DFS tools, optimizers, research stations, got all kinds of props and tools for every sport from MMA to soccer to NBA, NHL, MLB coming up, and use the code SNIPER for 20% off your membership. It's dfsarmy.com. I think that's enough of the intro this week. Let's just jump right into some fights. First up, we have Damir Ismagulov, 9.2K, taking on Joel Alvarez at 7,000. Ismagulov, the large favorite in this one, minus 275. The comeback on Alvarez, plus 235. Look, I'm really high on Damir Ismagulov. Really good striking, relentless grappler, well-rounded. He's a little like Khabib, and he's going to look for those takedowns, but he doesn't smash for a finish like Khabib, and he has better striking. But a prospect I'm really high on. Obviously not as good as Khabib yet. That's how I think of him. I think he's got a real shot to make a run into the top 10 of this division. Joel Alvarez, on the other hand, is 15-1, making his UFC debut, 6 straight submissions, but it's all in the Spanish regional scene. It's cell phone footage. He doesn't look that good to me. He's never really been tested, only out of the first round twice. Look, I just think that highly of Ismagulov. There's a little bit of uncertainty because of an unknown-ish opponent, but he's my preferred play at 9.2K. Give me Ismagulov. Rustam Khabilov, 8,700, taking on Diego Ferreira at 7.5K. Khabilov, the favorite, minus 145. The comeback on Ferreira is plus 125. Khabilov looks for takedowns. 6 straight decision wins. The last time out, he lost to Kajan Johnson, but he got a favorable decision in his home country. He can be taken down. I'm not sure if Ferreira has enough to get it there, but Khabilov has been subbed before. He was rear naked choked by Benson Henderson. Is he going to want to go to the ground in this one? Because if he does, Ferreira in some fights will pull guard, world-class BJJ. Khabilov has power but no volume. Ferreira, on the other hand, 2 straight KOs, was hurt in the Kyle Nelson fight, pulled guard, recovered, got back up, won that fight by knockout. Decision against Olivier Aubin-Mercier. He's continued to improve his striking. He's going to be faster in this one. Ultimately, while it's a close fight, for the odds especially, Ferreira is a much stronger play for me. I'm picking him to win straight up because he's more consistent, better volume on the feet, and if Khabilov does get it down, he's live to a sub. Just more ways to win. Give me Ferreira at 7.5K. Michel Prazeres, 9,400, taking on the newcomer in this one, whose first name I keep forgetting. His last name is Ismail Narudiev. Prazeres minus 440. Comeback on Narudiev plus 350. Prazeres on an 8-fight win streak. He's crazy strong. Just wants to grapple. Really good BJJ. He subbed the grinder Bartosz Fabinski last time out, which is an impressive one because Fabinski's huge for the weight class. Narudiev, UFC debut, replacing Emiev on short notice. He's 22. Nicknamed the Austrian Wonder Boy. He's a flashy striker. He's going to be taller, and he's 15 years younger. He fought a couple weeks ago. It's a quick turnaround to make weight. In his one loss, he was controlled on the ground. Prazeres should win this one. The only little bits of, doubt you could have are just Prazeres is getting older. You never know when Father Time's going to catch up to you. And the change of opponents. We've seen guys struggle with that before, but even as the most expensive fighter on the card, I have to love Michel Prazeres and his style at 9.4K. All right, let's talk about the chalk of the card. Chalk of the card. Damir Hadzovic, 7.4K, taking on Marco Polo Reyes at 8.8K. Hadzovic, even though he's 7.4K, he is the favorite in this one, minus 115. The comeback on Reyes, minus 105. Hadzovic should be 1-3 in the UFC. He's 2-2. He won a split decision against Nick Held. The fight he should have lost was he got a 3rd-round knockout of Marcin Held, where he was dominated in the first 2 rounds. Look, strong guy, but to me, he looks really stiff and just, he's physically stronger and he looks tough in the part, but and he has power, obviously, but the striking doesn't look great to me. Polo Reyes is 4-1 in the UFC, but not good competition, was knocked out by James Vick. Both of these guys are stand-up fighters. I'm hoping one of them decides to train the ground and go for takedowns here. And I'm wondering who that's going to be because both guys are susceptible to being taken down. Ultimately, I think Reyes I think his hand speed is going to win the day. He's more likely to push the pace and out-volume Hadzovic, and Hadzovic is going to be very chalky. So if you want to play Hadzovic in cash game for the line value, I totally get it. Ultimately, though, my pick to win the fight is Reyes at 8.8K, making him a good GPP play because he should be very underowned. Jillian Robertson, 8.6 thousand, taking on Veronica Macedo at 7.6K. Robertson, minus 165. The comeback on Macedo is plus 145. Robertson is 2-1 in the UFC, lost last time out to Mayra Bueno Silva. She got caught in an armbar. She wants to grapple. Really not good striking, but her grappling, training at ATT, is better than most people in this 125-pound division. But like I said, not good on the feet, whereas Macedo is good on the feet, but she's 0-2 in the UFC, lost to KGB Lee and Ashley Evans Smith. She's a good striker, and will have the edge on the feet, but Robertson wants no part of the feet. I don't think the fight will play out there very long. Macedo was taken down 5 times in those 2 fights, finished by AES. Robertson should win. Is that the better style for DraftKings? I think this fight hits the ground. Give me Robertson, the preferred play at 8.6K. Chris Fishgold, 9,000, taking on Danny Tamer at 7.2K. Fishgold minus 245. The comeback on Tamer is plus 205. Tamer 0-2 in the UFC. Throws wild. Lost to Danny Henry. Stopped by Julio Arce. Fishgold, on the other hand, former Cage Warrior champ, was thrown in the deep end in his UFC debut. Was stopped by Calvin Kattar. Did have some success early in that fight. Look, Fishgold's going to bring the war. Should be a high-paced fight. One of these guys is going down. I'll have a little bit of both sides in GPPs. But ultimately, Fishgold is more well-rounded. Will look to grapple. I think he's more explosive. In a fight I like to finish, give me Chris Fishgold as the preferred play at 9,000. But I don't mind some shares of Tamer in GPP. Carlo Petersali Jr., 8.2K, taking on Dwight Grant at 8,000. Petersali is the favorite, minus 150. Comeback on Grant is plus 130. A little bit of odds value for Petersali. And I've been going back and forth on this fight. I think the line's a little too wide, quite honestly, so I'm discounting the odds value a little bit. Split decision against Bradley Scott. He was knocked out by Alex Cowboy Oliveira last time out. I've seen that guy change lives before. Fighters tend to not be the same after a Cowboy Oliveira fight. Petersali has some grappling. Good movement, like the kicks. Dwight Grant made his UFC debut in a split decision loss to Zach Otto, where he didn't pull the trigger. He looked different than he has in previous fights. He's 34 years old, only a second fight in the UFC. It's now or never for the kid. Ultimately, Petersali, to me, has more ways to win. He's my pick to win the fight. But if anybody's going to score 100 in a first-round knockout, it is Dwight Grant. So Petersali would be the cash play for the odds value. Grant, I think, it's got the explosive finish potential for GPPs. Magomed Ankalaev, 9.1K, taking on Klidson Farias Abreu at 7.1K. Ankalaev, 1-1 in the UFC. That submission loss to Paul Craig, we all remember, with 1 second to go in the third round. Last time out, knocked out Marcin Prachnio. He's not really any good. Relentless grappler, good ground and pound. People are going to be a little gun-shy of him, and I like him here because his opponent is a Brazilian who's beaten up a bunch of cans, I think. Has some power, though. Has fought at heavyweight. 6 straight wins, 5 by submission. That's the only way he's going to win, though. And he has been taken down outside of maybe landing something on the feet because he's bigger. I just don't think he's good enough to do that. Ankalaev has the advantage everywhere. 9.1K is pricey, but again, I think more people are going to focus on Fishgold and Prajeris in that range. I'm hoping Ankalaev is a little under-owned. He's my preferred play at 9.1K. Peter Yan, 9.3 thousand, taking on John Dodson at 6.9K. Peter Yan is a pretty big favorite in this one, minus 300. Comeback on Dodson, plus 250. Peter Yan beat the ever-living crap out of Douglas Silva de Andrade last time out. Good volume, good pace, solid prospect. Probably the best prospect on the card. Rising up the ranks, is going to keep going here. John Dodson, though, 6.9K is a good price for him. He's alternating wins and losses. He's 3-3 in his last 6. He always fights close. He's super quick. He's tough to look good against. I have a hard time paying that price tag against Peter Yan. While I am picking him to win, I think he gets a volume-based decision. Dodson is so quick, always lands strikes, is not finished, Dodson, I think, is a better cash game punt, and just for the price tag, I don't see Jan getting a quick finish in his win to pay off the salary. Liz Carmouche, 8.3K, taking on Lucy Pudilova at 7.9 thousand. Carmouche the favorite, minus 140. Comeback on Pudilova is plus 120. Carmouche is going to look to grapple. Pudilova can be taken down. Carmouche, not great stand-up, but she's so strong. Pudilova is the only Czech on the card defending home soil. She lost to Irene Aldana last time out. Good stand-up, and she usually has good volume. She usually has the advantage in the clinch, but that could be negated because Carmouche is so strong. Big difference in age here. 35-year-old Carmouche, 24-year-old Pudilova. How much is Carmouche going to slow? I don't think it's quite enough here. I do think Carmouche is going to have enough grappling to win a decision. It is worth noting with Pudilova at home, a decision could be hard to come by, but I think she spends enough time on top. It'll be hard to deny her. Also, just neither one of them are going to score high, in my opinion, in a win, but Carmouche is more likely to score more just based on the grappling. So not a fight I'm super interested in, but Carmouche is my pick at 8.3K. Jean Volante, 7.3K, taking on Mikhail Oleksiejczuk at 8.9 thousand. Oleksiejczuk, minus 200, comeback on Volante, plus 170. To me, this line is too wide. Oleksiejczuk won his UFC debut against Roundtree and then popped by USADA. By the way, Roundtree beat the crap out of him in the first round and gassed out. I'm not super impressed with the Oleksiejczuk film. He needs the takedown here, and Volante does tend to fade, but Volante's got like 86% takedown defense. Not great fight IQ, does fight very close, 4 straight split decisions, last time out a win against Ed Herman. Gets hit a lot, but he's willing to, take one to give one. Ultimately, I think he's got better volume here, and I'm just not impressed with Oleksiejczuk. 7.3K, I think, is a good price for Jean Volante. He is my preferred play, especially against a guy coming off of a USADA suspension. Co-main event, Marcos Rogério de Lima, 8.4K, taking on Stefan Struve at 7.8 thousand. Pick 'em fight, Rogério de Lima, minus 115. Comeback on Struve, minus 105. Look, is Struve done? That's really the question here. He's 0-3 in his last 3. Losses to Tybura, Arlovsky, Volkov, taken down 11 times in those 3 contests. Does have some tricky subs, but he's very, very hittable. Rogério de Lima, though, last time out, just squeaked by Adam Wojciech. Anytime he faces anybody even decent, OSP and Tigolov, he loses. His other recent win is Jeremy Kimball, who's not any good. Look, it's a weird co-main event fight. I think I'm going to have a little bit of both sides here. Actually, scratch that. I won't have much of Struve because he's a million in fight years despite only being 31. I think the difference is the takedowns from Rogério de Lima. I think he gets a decision here. I am going to be underexposed to this fight, and hopefully people jump on board the heavyweight bandwagon. I just don't think it's going to be a very active fight. And despite the odds, I don't see it ending in the first round. So give me Rogério de Lima as the preferred play. He's the guy I will have some of in tournaments. Main event time, Thiago Santos, 8.5K, taking on Jan Blachowicz at 7.7 thousand. Odds values on Blachowicz, this is now a pick 'em, minus 110 apiece for each guy. Santos, to me, is just, he's a killer. Super active, he's in wars, he throws hard, those kicks are insane. He does have questionable losses to Eric Spicely and David Branch, but he's confident, vicious KO power. Blachowicz with the odds value, he's also the Twitter mush this week. He's going to be very chalky. I was on the train of Jan Blachowicz. I'm jumping off now, but with the odds value, you could definitely stack this fight. Blachowicz, 4 straight wins. Clark, Cannoneer, Manoa, Krylov. He's back on the juice. He's well-rounded. I don't think his grappling is good enough to hold down Thiago Santos, and on the feet, I just think Santos has so much pop, and he's the one more likely to score 100 to 110 points. Even if Blachowicz, obviously the later this fight goes, the more he's likely to win. That's why I think Blachowicz is the better cash play. Along with people being on Blachowicz, I'm going to hopefully Santos goes under 0, and I'm going to look for that 100 to 110 point score that I think he's more likely to get. He's my preferred play at 8.5K. That's what I have for the Express, guys. Please give me a follow on Twitter at the DF Sniper. Subscribe to this podcast. Thank you for listening. Good luck in your contest. We'll check you next time.